So you're about to pop out your second kid and you're wondering how on earth you're gonna survive that. Don't worry, because I got you covered. This video is how to survive the 1 to 2 kid transition. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new and you're watching me for the first time. My name's Brianna Robinson Farron, and this is the Farron family, where I talk about all things family, lifestyle, chaos, you name it, I got it. So like I said, I'm gonna be talking about that transition from 1 to 2 kids. Now I feel like I'm well versed in the 1 to 2 transition kid universe. I have 2 kids, not only under 2, but who are 14 months apart. So really I have 2 kids basically that are a year apart. My first child is a boy, his name is Wilder, he's 20 months old. My second son, his name is Wesley, he is 6 months old. Now I know what you're thinking, you got pregnant when Wilder was 6 or 7 months. No, I got pregnant later on. The issue is Wesley came early. My boys were supposed to be 16 months apart, but he ended up coming 7.5 weeks early. That's a different story for a different day. Today I'm talking about how that transition went and what are some tips and tricks that actually helped me survive. My first one that I definitely followed was take time to adjust as a family. Everything is changing, everything is new. You're adding this new life into your beautiful family of now 4, and everyone's gonna be excited. Everyone's calling, texting, when can I come see the baby? They're flooding the hospital trying to visit, right? And that may seem good and dandy, but at some point it also feels overwhelming. It's okay if you say, hey, right now in the hospital, we don't want visitors. We just want to be with our new family of 4. That's okay. And to be honest, when we finally brought Wesley home from the hospital, I still didn't want visitors at home. The thing I wanted was someone to come help play with my toddler. All of a sudden your attention and focus shift from, my one toddler that I've always had 100% focus on, it shifts to this newborn baby that needs me every waking minute and moment of every day. So I wish that when family came over, they were really tending to the toddler. Yes, they want to hold the baby and see the baby and snuggle the baby, but my toddler needs love too, right? So take the time to adjust as being a family of 4, but if people want to come over and help with the toddler. The second thing I would say is definitely try to prepare your first child. I mean, new life is coming home. Their world is about to be rocked and they have no idea, depending on the age. Like I said, my boys are 14 months apart. So when I was pregnant, I had a baby at home. I had a 10-month-old, an 11-month-old, a 12-month-old. He didn't understand why mommy's belly was getting bigger. He saw it, but it's not like he was coming up rubbing it or anything like that. You can get your son or daughter a doll to play with, like a baby doll to kind of talk to about, oh, mommy's having a baby, let's take care of this baby, right? So they kind of get the idea that something is coming. Let them help you set up the nursery and look at the baby clothes. Like there's a ton of stuff you can do to start integrating the baby into your toddler's life before the baby even gets there. I couldn't really do it because like I said, my son was only 14 months when I had my second kid, so he didn't really understand. But if your child is older, let them help you transition into this newfound life. The third thing I would say about transitioning from 1 to 2 kids is that your second child definitely gets a different kind of parent. And that could be a pro or a con. And let me tell you what I mean. Your first child, when you bring home from the hospital, it's just you and them, right? You're cuddled up on the couch all day, you're lounging around, you hold them, you have all the time in the world as you recover in bed. You have nowhere to be, you're on maternity leave, hopefully, depending on where you live. But your second kid gets a different parent. Your second kid gets a parent that's on the move, running after a toddler. I'm not laying on the couch all day. I'm not in bed all the time. I'm up, I'm making a snack, I'm making a bottle. We're going to Gymboree, we're going here. I'm cleaning up toys on the ground. My second child gets a very active parent. I'm not lounging around, and that could be a pro or a con. I'm not really sure. I guess it would depend on the person, how they feel about it. I liked both experiences, lounging around all day with my first, but also being very active with my second. And I found, unless you wear your baby, which I wasn't, I have a baby carrier, but I wasn't really into carrying either of my babies, my first or my second. I would just lay him in the swing or the bouncer or the snuggle me or whatever. I wasn't into carrying my baby. And I found unless you really are carrying your baby all the time, and for some parents, that's the only way they can get things done, is hold their baby while they're tending to their toddler. I was lucky in that I could put my baby down. Again, I think it's because I had a NICU baby, and that's again a story for a different day. But my baby was very independent, so I could lay him down and tend to my toddler as needed. You also, with the 1 to 2 transition, you know more. You're confident in your parenting skills. You're not questioning every little decision. You know what works, you know what doesn't work, you know the tips, the tricks, and the hacks. You are more confident and your baby feels that. The fourth thing I would say about transitioning from 1 to 2 is that flexibility truly is key. With my first child, I remember I was so regimented with the schedule. He ate at this time, he napped at this time, no one disturbed him. His wake windows were boom, boom, boom. We didn't leave the house on certain times. Like, it was very regimented. Your second, I feel like all that goes out the window. You learn to pivot and you learn to be flexible. There was a lot of sleeping in the car, not so much the bassinet, because we were going to Gymboree class for my toddler. There were times that my toddler's 7 p.m. bedtime would have to be pushed back to 7:15, 7:20, because my baby would start crying and I would have to feed him first, then get my toddler to bed. Or my toddler would have to wait for a bath because my baby just pooped up his neck and I have to change him, then give my toddler a bath, then give my baby a bath. Like, you just learn to be more flexible and to pivot and to kind of like be loose with it. But again, like I said, you're more confident anyway, so you're okay doing that. Listen, I was at Sesame Place with my toddler 2 weeks after giving birth to my baby. You just roll with it and everyone will survive and thrive. The next step for the transition is just understanding your body is going to change again. And postpartum hits different the second time. I felt like my pregnancy, I started showing and I was bigger faster because you already have kind of expanded those muscles. And so like I was showing way quicker and I got way bigger the second time. Let me know in the comments if you also got bigger the second time. I'm curious, is like that just me or does that happen? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. That's just my experience. But you also don't have as much time to tend to yourself, and that goes for postpartum as well. It will be easier in a sense because you know what to expect. You know you're gonna bleed for X amount of time. You know the tips, the tricks, and the hacks. You know about Freedom Mom and all the Freedom Mom products and how to get the ice pack and the layers and pads and the spray. Like, you know all of that. You know that the adult diaper is better than the one that they give you in the hospital, and you know about the Freedom Mom Peri bottle. Like, you know all of that, so it's easier. But it's also harder because, like I said, you're running after a toddler, so you're not laid up in bed all day. Maybe you are, I wasn't. You're not just laying around resting, and that's okay. You rest in your own time, you will heal, it just might take a little bit longer. The next thing I would say about transitioning from 1 to 2 kids is that first initial introduction. I highly recommend, like, again, I had NICU babies, so when I went to the mother baby unit, I saw my toddler, but my baby wasn't there because he was in the NICU. So my kids' first time meeting each other was when we brought our baby home 35 days after he was born, and they met at home. And how that went was that we put the baby in another room. My toddler came home from daycare that day, and it was just me. And hi, mommy, and all this stuff, and we did our little thing, and we had a snack, and we played a little bit. And then, I want to show you something. And we brought the baby into the room and he kind of just looked at the baby and looked at me, was kind of not interested, and then went about his way. I didn't force the baby on him, and honestly, he was very disinterested at first. I don't know if it was because he was 14 months and didn't really cognitively understand that, like, this is your brother, he's living here forever, or that he just really didn't care. Comment below, let me know how old your first was and what his reaction was. But like I said, my toddler paid him no mind. We put the baby in the swing, he'd walk right past the swing. We put him in the bouncer, didn't care, went on with his day. But slowly over time, he started to warm up to him. He would eventually go over to the swing and look in it and kind of stare at the baby. If I put him in the car seat, he would kind of rock the baby.
Okay, he's sleeping.
Now he's fully obsessed with the baby. He won't leave him alone. He's always right next to the baby. He wants him in his lap. He kisses him all the time. They will get used to the baby at their own pace. Don't force the relationship. Let it just grow naturally. That's what we did, and it worked beautifully. The next one is that mom guilt is so real the second time around because it feels like you're giving up time with your toddler for X amount of time. It was just you. It was just you and your toddler all the time. Like, they only had you and you only had them. But now there's another baby, so automatically your attention is split. And the mom guilt of that is really hard. And I will take it a step further because, like I said, 3 times already, I had a baby in the NICU, not only the first, but the second time around. That is a full story for a different day. But I will say, when touching on this subject, having a baby in intensive care in the hospital and having a toddler at home, both who need you for drastically different reasons all the time, the guilt couldn't be more real. When I was in the hospital with my baby, I felt guilty that my toddler was at daycare and I wasn't home with my child, and I was spending hours away from him, and he didn't know why, because they didn't allow babies in the NICU. He didn't know why I wasn't there. I was just gone for this chunk of time out of each and every day because I went to the hospital every day. And then on the flip side, when I was home, in the mornings and at night, because I would spend about 5 hours in the middle of the day, I would spend in the hospital. So for the morning chunk and the night chunk, when I was at home tending to my toddler, you feel guilty that you're not in the hospital. Like, my baby's in the hospital, hooked up to wires, in an incubator, alone. Why am I not with my baby? You physically can't be in two places at once, and that ate me alive. Thank God it was only a 35-day stay. My first child's NICU stay was 60 days. Thank God it wasn't that. It was only 35 days. But it was hard, and I've never felt mom guilt like that. And I'm sure if you just bring your babies home on time and they're full term and you spend the 3 days in the hospital and you all go home together, I'm sure you still feel guilty, because it doesn't matter what the scenario is, you're still splitting your attention, if that makes sense. But I felt it on a higher level and a more intense level because of the one kid in the hospital. The mom guilt is real. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Do not be hard on yourself. You are doing the best you can. The last thing I'm going to say about the transition from one kid to two, the relationship with your partner is going to change again. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You are in fight or flight mode. You are in survival mode. You're just trying to get to the end of the day. It's almost like man-to-man coverage, right? You have the baby, your husband probably has the toddler or the older kids. And those first couple days to weeks are just about getting through the day, making sure the kids are fed, safe, healthy, happy, getting like the little bit of sleep you can. Like, you're literally just surviving those first couple weeks to months. So your relationship's gonna change. It feels like two passing ships. But what I will say that we did is that we made it a point, when we felt comfortable, to carve out time for each other early on. And like, you got to do what you got to do to just get the alone time. So we made an agreement that once a month we're going to go out for a date night. Now, my baby is now 6 months old, right? It's not like at 2 months we were doing this, but now that he's 6 months and he's a little older, we have a trusted babysitter. Once a month we go out, whether it's to a movie, we saw Wicked, whether it's for dinner and drinks, whether it's to a concert, we've done that, whether it's to like Color Me Mine, like it doesn't matter what it is, but we make it a point once a month, him and I, no kids, get a babysitter if you can, or a relative. Like, we don't have family near here, so if you can get a relative or a babysitter, like, get someone, because your relationship is also a priority, and you don't want too much time to go by of like the ships passing, because it's gonna feel like the roommate thing, and I don't really like that roommate phase. Like, I don't know, I don't like it. So we made it a point to still tend to our relationship. And my last point about the relationship changing, we make it a point to go to bed together. Now, when the kids are asleep and all that stuff, like our kids go down at like 7, 8, we both just might need to debrief from the day separately. We're together. He might sit on the couch and watch TV. I might sit on the couch and be on my computer. We might not be talking, but we might be in the same area doing different things. But if I say, all right, I'm going to bed, I'm tired, he'll come in with me. If he says, all right, I'm going to go lay down in the room and watch a movie, I'm going to go in with him. We make it a point to go into bed together. And let me tell you why. We do that because it unintentionally gives us intimate time together. We end up talking about our days. We end up laughing about jokes. We end up telling stories. We end up doing the nasty. Like, we just end up being intimate, whether it's laughter, whether it's we're telling stories, whether we're actually being intimate with each other. Like, we got that back a lot sooner the second time around because we just go to bed together. And there's no intent behind it. We might put on a movie and we might be asleep in 30 seconds. We might put on a movie and we might just talk about our day and laugh and joke around. Or we might put on a movie and do a little dun-dun-dun, you know what I mean? Like, it just depends on the day. But going to bed together unintentionally revives the intimacy. And if you don't do it, because 10 out of 10, it helped us. So there you guys have it. Those are my tips and tricks on surviving the 1 to 2 kid transition. Things that have been helpful for us in 2025 so far. Comment below, let me know what you think. If you like this video and want more content like this, like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a lot more of this rolling out. I have a lot to say, a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to share this parenting journey with you and all the things that come along with that. Again, my name is Brianna. This is the Farron family, and always remember to be kind to yourself, okay? Love you. Bye.